All right, it is Saturday, August 21st, 2021, 9:54 p.m. I'm just going to give a really quick summary of my day. I don't really want to do this, but I feel like it's kind of like exercising. Sometimes you don't want to do it, but I'll be glad I did it. No particular reason that I guess I'll just be glad because it's like a diary. It's like Captain Kirk. Actually, I'm just distracted here because look at this. There's a balcony there that's like really cool. Imagine living there. I would love that. That'd be fun. Or would I have loved it when I was like young and I could imagine like, I don't know, sitting there playing guitar and wooing all the girls in the street. But now it'd be like, why do I want to be that? Anyways, I'm too obsessed with age. Everybody comments that. It's like, why do you care? Like, why are you always talking about it? I don't know why. Anyways, I'm just going to give a quick summary of my day so that it's like a record of my day. What did I do this morning? Went to bed around midnight, put on a podcast for an hour, and then I woke up at like 7 a.m. or something, and I'm like, ugh, I'm still tired. And I thought, but maybe I should just get up. But I lay in bed for a couple hours, and then eventually I was like, I'm not going to fall back asleep, so I'll just get up. But I think I was just on my phone for a while. I didn't really leave. I started cleaning up my basement room there because I thought, maybe if it's decluttered, I'll be able to think straight. And then, yeah, I think finally, like around 1 o'clock, I came upstairs, and my parents were upstairs, and I'm always like, I know if I go upstairs, they're gonna say something like, oh, you slept in too late or whatever. Or sometimes, like if I'm about to go for a run, it's always something. My mom will say, oh, of course, you're going for a run at the peak of the day. It's the hottest part of the day. And I'm like, I'm just gonna go exercise. And today it was like, it's really hot out. My dad's like, it's sweltering. It's like an oven. I'm like, I know. And my mom's like, if you need help, if you need your father to pick you up or something, call him. Like, and she's like, it's really hot. I'm like, okay, I know. I'm just gonna, because I was taking my beer cans. I was gonna jog to the beer store, and then there was a doorbell ring, and she's like, oh, that's my friend Valerie or something. And I'm like, well, how come you're allowed to go and go outside with her and go do something? She's like, well, no, we're just going for a walk. And anyway, do what you want. So she kind of snapped. And I mean, the thing is, I should have just been happy that they cared. Like it's, sorry, look, there's somebody at the balcony now. I just saw somebody move there. It's kind of cool. I saw somebody walk by. It looks so cozy. Whenever I see like an apartment, like from the outside, it always looks so cozy. I'm sure if I was outside my own basement window, I'd be like, oh, that's so cozy. So I should have been happy that somebody cared, because, it's nice to have somebody go like concerned that, oh, are you going to be too hot? Like if I had kids and grandkids, they'd be like, oh, Grandpa Josh, like, are you going to, it's too hot to go out. But, my parents care, so I'm glad for that. So I shouldn't have snapped. I should have just been like, thank you for your concern. I'm really happy that you care. I'll do my best. I'll have some water. Because I remember actually when I was like 17 in high school, I wanted to track how fast I run. And I'd read in a magazine, like, this is the speed you should try to hit, like a 4-minute mile or something. And so I went to my high school track, and I came back, and I'm like, oh, I wasn't that fast. She's like, it's like 40 degrees out. Like, you picked the hottest time of the year, like the hottest day of the year, and that's when you were testing your running. I'm like, I don't know. So even now, it's just their way of caring. So that's good. Anyway, so then I went for my jog. I jogged all the way to the beer store, and what happened was I was listening to this podcast by James Altucher. And I got like this series of where he coaches people to be millionaires, but hasn't done that for an episode or two. Or maybe the last one was like that again. But this newest one was just comparing the different philosophies of life. Stoicism, existentialism, what's the other one? I don't know. And then the last one was absurdism. And he says that's the one he identifies with, which is the idea that it's just everything's absurd. Nothing really has any meaning. Stoicism is like you don't worry about things you can't control, like an earthquake or something, and just focus on what you can control. And existentialism is like nothing matters, doesn't matter about anything, so don't worry about it. But at least you should still act with love or something. And then absurdism is like, doesn't matter, nothing matters, we're all gonna die. And I'm like, oh, Jesus. It was just so depressing. And he was sounding all like jolly about it, but I'm like, this is just, okay, like this is not helping me. I was hoping that somebody like him would have a podcast where, you'd teach me how to be happy and stuff. Because he's like 53 or something, and he's gone broke a bunch of times and then made millions a bunch of times. So he's got a lot of money, and he's basically doing all the things I would want to do. He's done stand-up comedy, and he does writing and all these interesting things. So I just got really depressed. I listened to the whole thing just to see if it would get any better, and really the only positive note at the end was that he said, it's freeing. Like, once you realize nothing matters, it's like you're free. I'm like, free? That's not, I don't want to be free. I want to be trapped. I want to feel like everything matters and stress about it because it matters. Maybe there's a way to work that into my stand-up. Anyways, then I came home around 4:30 because I had messaged, there was a potluck going to happen, a potluck and bonfire with the Friendly Ottawa Singles group. And I don't have a car, and I was wondering, and I also don't know anybody in the group, and also I wouldn't know what food to bring. So I posted like asking about all those things. And then I messaged this girl, Goodney, in the group. She told me today, actually, her name is Goodness, but her mom used to call her Goodney. So when her mom passed away, she decided to call herself Goodney. So now I understand her name. She said she would drive me, and I'm like, okay, great, because I've seen her a couple of times before. And yeah, but then I was sitting outside at 4. My mom opened the door, but then I said, I'm not coming in. And she's like, are you coming in? Oh, okay. And then she shut the door again. So I just sat on my phone. But then at 4:30, I was about to get up and go inside to shower. But then my dad came outside and sat there and just started talking about the family history. And actually, we even talked about exercise. I was like, maybe would you go to the gym? He's like, yeah, maybe I'll sign up for the gym again. I'm like, okay, this is good. So I figured, because my aunt's funeral was yesterday, his sister, and I thought, all right, well, we're going to have a father-son talk right now. Sorry, I just touched the screen. Let me see if it's still working. Yeah. And so I figured I shouldn't go in right now, but then at like 4, and also the second he came out, I was thinking I should go back in, but now I can't. It would look like he came out and I'm like, oh, he's here, I'm leaving. So now I had to sit there for a bit. But then anyways, at 4:58, I'm like, I better go in, 'cause she's coming at 5. And then at 5:05, I was about to have the shower, and I saw a text from her saying I'm here, and my dad's calling, like, she's been here for 5 minutes. I'm like, ah. So I showered quick, and I didn't get out to the car until like 5:20, and then we went and got food, and I bought a bunch of naan and a couple of dips, because somebody in the group said, bring naan and dips. And then somebody else said, I vote for marshmallows. So I went to the grocery store, got all of that, got some marshmallows too, got some hot dogs, and chicken dogs, actually, but chicken hot dogs. And they were the cheapest, just like $2. I'm like, you know what? I bought like $50 worth of Subway subs for the pool party potluck a couple of weeks ago, and nobody ate any of it. So I wound up bringing it home. And I'm like, I'm not going to drop $50 again when at potlucks there's always too much food. Anyway, so we drove to that, and then, as I suspected, we didn't really talk to anybody. Like, I tried introducing myself, and why is this fence broken? And nobody. I don't know, they just all sort of know each other, so it's kind of hard. So I talked to Goodney for a while and talked to one guy. He's like, oh, when did you helped at Constance Bay? I'm like, what? He's like, your hat. I'm like, oh no, I just found that hat on the sidewalk, because it said Constance Bay flood relief on it. And then I told the story about how my dad had like a New York police hat, and we were in Vermont once, and the guy's like, oh yeah, what department? I was New York police. He's like, oh, I just bought the hat somewhere. And I always thought that was ridiculous for my dad, but now I'm that guy. Anyway, and then there was a moment when I heard some woman explain to 2 other women about, yes, like, if you have fat on you, you're this kind of personality, and if you're muscular, it's this. And I was like, they went on for like 10 minutes. So finally I sort of figured, okay, I'm going to join the conversation. I'm going to try to, I said, so what is this? Like, if you're fat, you have certain personalities? Like, no, it's just a book. I'm like, okay, yeah, but what does the book say? Like, and she said, what's the way you evolve? I'm like, okay, but did they explain why? Like, why being fat would make you more jolly, or is it the other way around? Being jolly, you evolve to have more fat. She's like, I don't know, I haven't got the. And then some woman was just like, she's very smart. I'm like, I know I'm not saying she's not smart. I'm just asking. I was trying to make conversation. And then at the end, I was just like, I guess I'm a fat, because I felt very fat. I was eating lots. And she's like, not based on this conversation, you're not, because the fat people are jolly. I'm like, wait, what? So then I was like, fine, I'll just go back to my phone. So that my one attempt at conversation was useless. And then it made me wonder, because sometimes when my mom says something, my dad's always piping in for like more details. She'll say like, oh, I'm going to the art show. Well, whose art show is it? Who? And I'm like, why are you like, why do you have to keep jumping and get more details? She doesn't know. Like, people don't know. They're just saying something. So I'm wondering if that's how I came across. So I don't know. Look at that. It looks like the moon, but it is the moon, but that light looks like the moon as well. Anyways, and I sometimes wonder if I have ADHD. Like, I read an Instagram post today. It was like a woman's brushing her teeth. It's like, what it's like to have ADHD. And it was like, I'm going to brush my teeth. And it's like, oh, wait, I was going to do something in the kitchen. And then she goes to the kitchen. She's like, why was I in the washroom? Why was I in the kitchen? All these thoughts. And I'm like, huh. But isn't everybody like that? I don't know. Anyways, so that was it. And then we sat sort of beside the food And then talking to Goodney for a while again, and learning about how they raise kids in Africa. We were talking about kids, and she was saying kids, like, some woman walked past us and was saying that I guess her daughter's kind of lippy and always giving her attitude, and oh, she's 8, and if she was at the party they wouldn't be able to do anything because the daughter has ADHD. Actually, that was it about. And then Goodney was saying in Africa, like, every mom in the neighborhood would, they'd see you do something, and by the time you got home, your mom would already know about it because they're all parenting. Anyways, and then she was like, I guess we could leave, like, if you weren't here, I would have gone. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, no, sorry. I didn't mean to be keeping us here. And then I was like, because nobody opened, I bought 5 packages of naan and 2 dips. And when I was buying them, she was like, yeah, that's too many. Like, you don't need that. And I'm like, oh, but I want to show up with it. And they were 50% off on the 50% off shelf. So I thought I brought them all, but I didn't see anybody eat them. So I thought, well, maybe I'll take them home again. And then when I went to look, I think they brought all the food in the kitchen, but then I thought, I guess you're not supposed to take your own potluck food home, because the idea is that you've been eating stuff and now it's part of the homeowners to thank them for, I don't know what happens, because at the pool party last week, Charles said they were just throwing out all the food when we were walking. I'm like, they're throwing it out. I would have taken it, like the samosas and stuff. So I don't know what potluck food etiquette is. That's why I don't like potlucks. On the other hand, I pig out at potlucks, but that's the problem. I'm pigging out because Goodney at the grocery store, I think she said, you've lost weight since I saw you. I'm like, really? So I've been trying to eat fruit for the past couple of days. So maybe I have lost a bit of weight in the past couple of days. And now I've gained it all back. And I said I've just been picking out because I'm kind of if there's nobody to talk to, I'm bored. So I'm just like, I'll just keep eating. And I'll have a piece of cheesecake now. Like, it's because there's nothing else to do. So that's it. And then she drove me home and she talked about a crazy roommate she has that's doing all these drugs. And she finally kicked him out, but he's left his TV there. And then the phone was ringing and she thought it was probably his dad calling to try to get the TV. And she's like, what kind of person calls this late at night? And anyways, she works at a retirement home and she's going to be up at 6 a.m. doing that. So it makes me happy to see people like them that are working. They're hustling. So it'll make me feel good if I get up at 6 and I'm like, I'm working too, because I know other people that are working. That's the problem. Like, living with my parents, they're retired. My mom still does a lot of work, and every morning she's up painting, but they're not at the office right now, and so I kind of feel like I guess I should just not be working too, but I need to be working. It's like my friend Mira says. She's a few years older than me and she's a lawyer. She's like, no, she needs to work to pay for things. Like, I'm in prime working. I'm not retired yet, as much as I kind of am. I can't be. Anyways, that's the summary of my day. Gonna go to bed, gonna get up early tomorrow, hopefully. And it was really hot today, actually. It was like an oven. So when I was out running, because I went to the beer store and then I ran to the bank with my change and then I ran back and it was very hot. So they were probably right that I should have stayed inside, but whatever. I like it. I like being able to use my body and move and stuff. Like, I've always liked that as a kid. Like, I'm just gonna go for a run and my sister will bike beside me, or I'll go for a run and my friend Luana will rollerblade beside me and my friend Alvin who was it? I guess maybe Gus would bike, and I was like, 'cause I can just move, and I feel like I can still do that. I can just get up and I'm gonna go for a run kind of thing. So I don't ever want to lose that, and it scares me about aging. But I guess I keep thinking, literally we're all kind of in this boat. So as much as I'm like, it feels like just me, it's like, no, we're all here. And that's why Goodney was like, I would have just stayed home and watched TV today, but because you wanted to come, like, it pushed me to come. I'm like, that's good. And it's like, so she was like, yeah, I guess, I would have just been home watching TV, so I guess it's not bad that we were here. I'm like, no, we did a summary thing. And I told a woman there, I said, yeah. She was like, are you having a good time? Like, the woman, I guess, whose house it is. And I said, yeah, I read recently that the key to longevity is having a big social circle, lots of friends. And so it's good to be out doing social things, although not necessarily at a party where nobody's talking to you. But you keep trying, otherwise how are you going to meet people? Like yesterday I interviewed the radio host that's a judge at the comedy contest I'm in. Look at the size of that tree. I guess you can't, it's too dark, but that's huge. And he said that, 4 years ago, something like a guy asked him to co-host a show and he was kind of not feeling good or something, but he went and did it. And in the green room, he met this woman, and now they have a 4-year-old kid. So you never know where you go, if you'll meet somebody that'll change your life, kind of thing. So who knows? Maybe at some point, walking up and down the street, some woman's going to be walking home and go, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm vlogging. She's like, I love vlogging. Let's vlog together. maybe that'll happen. But that's kind of what happens when you're 18. You're standing on a street corner, you meet somebody, and that is what they should teach you in school. They say the point of university, when you're surrounded by other young single people, is, find somebody you get along with. This is like the biggest pool of people you'll ever have. Pick one and say, okay, yeah, you're great. We'll have these memories together. We're going to build life together. In a year or two, we can have a kid. And then that's it. And then you build this beautiful life and you have adventures together. That's what you do. You don't go to university and just keep breaking up with people and then go off into the workforce. And then 30 years later, you're like, oh, crap, what the hell happened? But you never know. My aunt was around 30 when she got married, and her husband had already had a wife with 3 other kids. So he was 17 years older than her. And there you go. So and then they had a couple of more kids and had a beautiful life. And it's funny because they always assumed that my aunt would outlive my uncle because he was 17 years older, but now he's 87 and still alive, and my aunt just passed away a couple days ago. So you never know what you're gonna get. You just gotta, take each day and see what happens and follow whatever path you've got, because everything you do, that's something else that you're not doing. I don't know. There's some philosophy about it, but I'll just go to bed. And I should not. This is too dark, but the sign says no foul language. So anyways, thanks for listening. If anybody's ever listening, or if my great-great-grandkids are watching this one day going, I wonder what great-great-grandpa Josh did on August 21st, 2021, before the aliens came or whatever. Look, here's a couple going for a night walk. That's my goal. That's what I want. One day, I want to have a woman that I go for walks with every night. We talk about our day. We walk our dog. Maybe we push our baby in a stroller. We have some tea. That's the plan. I always wanted it, and I had girlfriends to do that with, and I just never locked it down. But maybe it's not too late. We'll see. Good night.